Hi there and welcome. You are in the zone, the Biz Info Zone. My name is Lynn Hawkins. I'm the creator and founder and dean of the P3 Academy of Social Entrepreneurship, and you're in the zone where the savvy social entrepreneur gets to express their purpose, plan their next moves, implement to the highest and easiest degree in order to take their business and their lives into the realm of prosperity. You know, we all live in a world of abundance. We live in an era where we have seen the examples of so many in our past who bring us wisdom and light and the benefit of the information that they have gained as they've lived and done business. And today, we're going to bring some of that to you with someone who I thoroughly adore, and the work that she is doing is so for this day and age. So I mentioned you're in the zone, the Biz Info Zone, and today we're actually in the wellness category of the Biz Info Zone show. And we're talking about the soul of your business. Now, I say the soul of your business, and what does that bring to mind? Well, for me, it's the heart and the soul of who you are. And that's our subject for today, embodying your entrepreneurial design. And we're going to be talking about bringing clarity to your human and your entrepreneurial design with our guest, Susan Boone. Now, I can tell you a lot of things about Susan. She has done some really great work in her career in the corporate sector and as she's gone on to do her work as a licensed professional counselor. Susan is the creator of the Well-Loved Woman. And when I first heard that, I thought, yes, that's who I am, that's who I want to be, and I want to know more. So Susan owned her own private practice for 8 years, and she works with women's groups and has done videos, parenting training, workshops, and she is now empowering, and she's an inspiring guide who loves to help women thrive and be their best selves. She's a woman of action, and she uses her ability to laser focus to get to the heart of the matter and gently but firmly guide her clients to do the same. She stands for a woman who has experienced professional success in her life, and she's yearning for something deeper and more fulfilling, and that happens when she helps her clients. In her personal and her business journey, she doesn't allow herself to dwell on the past. What she does is empowers others with the knowledge of her past so that not only she, but they can live their best present and their best future. And she brings and shares those beautiful gifts and talents in the world, and she's here today sharing with us. We're actually going to be talking about your human design. She's a human design specialist, and she says that your human design has everything to do with who you are and why. We're going to talk about being in that space of course correction, about balance and timing and sustainability. How do I get to this level of knowing who I am and keep it in order to grow further? And we're going to talk about doing that growth with ease and grace. So thank you for joining us today. I am so excited to welcome our guest, Susan Boone. Hi, Susan.
Hi. Oh, wow. I'm so excited too. I love what you do in finding wonderful entrepreneurs that have a really conscious awareness. And so
yes, I am. You are so welcome. I am so excited that the subject of the conscious awareness and the conscious entrepreneur is something that you speak to, because that's totally the space that I think people who are receiving our messages actually live. And with that said, Susan, tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you get from where you were, either growing up or making that decision to leave the corporate environment to start your own practice? How did you get there where right now you're just empowering so many wonderful women to stand in their power?
Right, right. Well, at 40, I was a successful banker, and I had an MBA, and I hit the wall. I was so numb. All of my energy was focused on everyone else, and the only thing I wanted to do is go to sleep, take a nap. And so I knew that I needed help, and I got a wonderful therapist who really allowed me to go to the bottom of why I was so numb. And so with that, I had a clarity, and I had an epiphany at one particular time, and it was about, if I were to die today, I wouldn't be a well-loved woman. And there was a wave of sadness and heartbreak and that, and said, I don't know what I can do, but I know I need to do this. And so that was a part, and I knew that you know, I knew that corporate America was toxic for me. So I got a master's in counseling, a licensed professional counselor, and the 8 years. And so I really didn't want to renew my LPC because I didn't want to be under that umbrella. And so I've spent a whole lot of time putting this together. And I, as it relates to well loved, I have a registered trademark that is for 5 years, and I can renew that. And
that's who you are, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I really can appreciate the story of being in the corporate environment, in the relationships that are at whatever level they are, but you know that there's more. You know that there's another level to it all. And making the choice that now is the time to actually move through that space and make some major changes. One of two things can happen. We can choose to make those changes, or life can make some changes for us.
Right.
And to be in the space of choice really gives you a different sense of empowerment. And going back to school and studying for your MBA, I know that the human design element has been something that you've been passionate about. Tell us, what is human design?
Well, human design is 20 years old, and it was channeled in, and it's 3 pieces of information: date of birth, time of birth, location of birth, but it has so many other things: the I Ching, the Chinese Book of Change, the Kabbalah, decision-making strategies, the conscious part, the unconscious part, and there's each human design chart is, it's not this is a really good chart or this isn't. It's neutral. And so what I did is I created a package. I did the reading for the person. It depends on, it could go to 60 or 90 minutes. And then I would, a week or two, go back and coach them to embody their design so that they could be in alignment with who they were and and align with the right people, the right places, the right opportunities. And it's organic. It's once you have that kind of information and you know that, oh wow, I get this, and it can really really up the ante for that woman or that man to really find the what, how they are and what they do. And I have had many readings of human design, and what no one has ever said, that's not me. No one.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I mean, if you have your birth certificate and that, and so I absolutely love it. I'm somebody who wants to go deep. My cornerstone is this embodying your design, and I then can, if that's all that they need, that's fine. If there's some other things, like, you know, you may have some relationship challenges. You may have that things like self-care, self-love. And so what I am sending to you as a gift of for your audience is 50 tips, well-loved woman tips. And they are very helpful. Very helpful.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for that. That's a gift, just telling everyone what's in store. And, you know, I look at what you're talking about, and really, even for my own life, I know that when I decided that I wanted to be loved, I had to first look at by whom. And the answer to that question, first and foremost, I determined needed to be me. And I know that there are a lot of us, especially women entrepreneurs, who are in the space of maybe struggling for that outside approval. And, you know, even to the degree that it is a toxic relationship. If they find their sense of purpose and their sense of design in that space of outside approval, what kind of things do you do to help them to center on coming into their own, being into their hearts, and really pulling things together from looking here first?
Right. Well, when I am doing human design and helping people to really get what they need, I have the ability to have patterns and to tell tell the client, this is what this stands for, and that, and if you have to have it another coaching call, I'm fine with that. So I want them to really own it and ground it in their core.
I can definitely see that. And I know that some of your work actually addresses, the other side of things, especially is what I'm doing now really my purpose, my path? And if I die today, then what? How do you address that issue with clients?
Well, I it just depends on who the client is and what it is that she or he needs to really step in to their beautiful oneness with who they are and what they are, and it's just magnificent because it's so lovely that it's just amazing.
That's probably one of the biggest questions at that particular road branching that you face and answer. Who am I? I remember for myself when I was 17, just about to turn 18, I told my mom, I'm moving out. I was like, I don't know who I am. I'm just, the kid that's grown up, that's taking care of everybody. Nobody's taking care of me. So maybe I'll find me as I start to take care of me. And, that ended up being a long process.
Yeah.
But how would someone look at a situation like that, whether you're 18 or 28 or 48? I still have not figured out who I am. What's the first thing that you actually direct people to understand?
Well, it's just 3 pieces of accurate information. Your birth certificate is that, and so it's holistic. It really is holistic because you have so many layers of information, and I typically it's between 60 or 90 minutes, and I don't go over 90 minutes because it's so many. It's just a lot of information. And what I do is I have a report for them, and I have a audio for them, and then I can also do the coaching calls and give them that information so that they can go back and over and over if that's necessary.
And I want to talk about your 5 principles of the well-loved woman.
Yes.
I think this is amazing. Tell our audience, what's the first principle?
The first principle is love, and accept yourself.
Oh my gosh, that's critical, right? It starts right here. And the whole examining your human design through looking at, your birth certificate, the day you were born, the time. Does location play into that as well?
Yes. Yeah. the three things. So the
Ah,
second one is you have quality relationships.
okay. Tell us about that. What does that mean? We all think we know.
Yeah, well, yes. Uh, I believe that quality relationships are the bedrock. They're just the bedrock, and it's it's it really um, when you have quality relationships, you are in another level of joyous, of happy, of of just it's just wonderful because you have people who love you dearly. You have um, my daughter's bridal shower. My three friends, close friends, were there. My daughters were there. My family was there, and it's just really um, a blessing, an exquisite blessing.
Mm-hmm. That's the quality of those relationships. My business partner, Cynthia Gardner O'Neill, actually has this beautiful quote that all life um, longs. This is probably not right, but you'll get the gist of it. All life longs for experience. And we often talk about the value of those experiences, the longing for the experience of relationship. Um, even where the plants look like they grow by themselves, but if they don't have soil, if they don't have water, if they don't have those relationships, and
Mhm.
they're good relationships, then they don't grow well. Our pets, if they don't have good relationships with us, our pets even don't have the best of life. And same thing with our human relationships. So I really get that, and I'm glad you qualified that as far as quality relationships. And
Mhm.
what's the third one?
The
What's
third is you know what brings you alive and you do it. We want pleasure in our life. Particularly women want pleasure in their life. They're yearning for that. And so what I was looking around for an improv class, and I found it, and it was like 10 weeks, 90 minutes, and that part of me, that little Susan part of me, was just excited, 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 and I just I get if I opened my mouth, it just came out. And the other thing that I love to do is have a deep tissue 90-minute massage. I love it because it gets all the stress in my body out.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And there are so many of us women entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
who are still of the mindset that we come last or next to last, or someone else is always first ahead of us as far as our caring for the others in our lives and the relationships in our lives. Whether it's children or husbands or partners or business partners or our business. Um, what I hear you saying, what I have learned myself is that knowing what brings you alive is part of it, but it's the doing, the experiencing of that really counts, right?
Well, for me, it's always about the experience. It's really been always about the experience. And so the fourth principle is you you create an environment that brings out the best you. And so that it's giving you just that wonderful, uh, wonderful environment, and you know that what you do and what you love and how you want to your house to look, or your clothes or whatever. It's just icing on the cake. And one of the things, Bruce Lipton, are you
I
are
do.
you
I am
familiar with that?
familiar with Dr. Bruce. Yeah.
Yes, and he says that the environment is what you want to be focusing on. So, and then the last is present, engaged, and growing.
Ah,
Because,
I love it.
yeah, I mean, it came through me very quickly, and so we do blogs that for each of these particular um, questions, or self talk, or self love, and it's helpful. It's really helpful.
It's helpful, it's healing, and I think one of the best places to heal is in an environment of growth.
Hmm.
And so that is so good. Now, you were talking about environment. I want to go back to that for just a minute
Hmm.
and give us some examples of what you know is the supportive, the nurturing environment that you were talking about that we really want to make for ourselves.
Well, there's a book. So let me just see. Um, I can get it quickly, maybe. Uh, Soul Space, I think it is.
Okay.
And so I love that book because he talks about your environment, and he also, uh, if you had accommodations, if you had uh, uh, wanted to do the guitar, or that, or if you wanted to go and have a lovely backyard with all these flowers, and maybe organic food, and that. But he's he's really um, helping that person to own what they truly are, and it's I am all about the oneness of a person, the uniqueness of the person, and so I'm thrilled when I see all this momentum and change in people I know. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. And it is in that unique sense of self that I think you can design the things, the spaces that allow you to be more productive, and the peace that you desire in your life, and just the being, the prosperous self that you talk about. I love that.
mhm,
That's actually high on my list at this point.
mhm,
um, One of the things that I've experienced is that I, in coming to know who I am,
mhm,
I've been a left brain person for most of my life, but I was that because I could find sanctuary there. And what
mhm,
I grew to really understand was in that sanctuary, I was always very guarded. I was always mistrustful. I was always wrong, actually, because people kind of get the real vibe of you sometimes. And what I learned was that when my right brain self was coming out, my creative, my
Right.
artistic, my free flowing, my flow person was coming out, I was showing a totally different as a totally different person when I was with those left brain people who I was so comfortable with. Of course, that was part of what made some of them love me so much. But to others, I now see how they can interpret that to mean something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's in those interpretations of who we are that actually confuse us as well. And what I want to ask you is, when you're thinking of the well-loved woman, what's one of the things that you really want to do for yourself so that you aren't playing this game of tug of war? Because you're of, I just want to be me. But you talked about it. Sometimes you got these relationships that you sometimes have to be in that tug of war with before you can say, I need to let you go.
Right.
So how do you see people experiencing that to get to making those hard choices?
Well, I had three friends, and I recognized that they weren't right for me, and so I I talked to them and I said, uh, this is this isn't what I want, and and for each of them, and uh, it's helpful when you um, when they're not doing their part, and so what happened was that opened up doors to have the kind of quality relationships I do have.
Mm-hmm. But those are some hard choices sometimes. And I guess, again, when we get back to the quality relationships, the valuable relationships, that first and most important one is with us
Mm-hmm.
and ourselves, helping us to make those decisions. And while those are tough choices sometimes, we do kind of get to the point where we say, this is necessary. And when it's all said and done, you can be in the present moment. And, what you talked about as far as principle 5, being able to be engaged and growing. Because now, do you find that people, once this decision is made, they feel that that's a loss? Or are they really on the other side and seeing the open door that you talked about?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that the women that I work with, uh, they are once they are embodying their design and they really are grounded in their body and heart and soul, um, they are they're going to be, present, engaged, and growing.
And I know you mentioned before that, that provides a little bit of an attractor factor.
Hmm.
So talk about that aspect of what the 5 principles actually can do for women.
Well, what they can do is it is a platform. So, um, love and accept yourself. You have quality relationships. You know what brings you alive, and you do it. You create the environment that brings out the best in you, present, engaged, and growing. Because it's not, this is a journey, you know. So,
Yes, it is truly a journey. And it is a journey that everyone must really come to grips with to come into yourself. And I know, we talk about being authentic and stand in your truth. And there is a lot of space there that you could still be on one side or the other versus being in the middle, being truly powerful in who it is that you are. And I want our audience to know that the well-loved woman journey is a journey that Susan helps to guide you on as you're moving from where you are right now, your current present moment, into the present moment that you dream of, that's going to be a place of peace and harmony in your life. And with that, Susan has brought everyone a gift. And the gift that she mentioned was the 50 relationship tips. I'm going to put the link to it out in the event page. But Susan, why don't you tell people a little bit about what those 50 tips are all about?
Well, they take on a particular thing. It can be self-care, self-love. It can be about the quality relationships that you have. It can be about the what brings you alive. It can be about the environment that you're in, and many people don't have the environment that they really want in their life, and they don't know how to go about that. And so this present engaged in growing, it's really has a lot of information, because each of these tips are packed in a small paragraph that's got the content.
So it's like you could actually have one of those a week to actually focus on and help to guide you into bringing your relationships into the space of quality relationships. And the ones that you see that aren't, maybe just spend a little less time there.
Right.
And Susan, I know that you also spoke about the program, and it's the Embodying Your Design package program, right?
Right.
So tell us a little bit about the program, and I will also post that link.
Okay. So what I would like to do with your audience, I have a package on my website which is $397, and I am taking it to $297, and for 48 hours this will be $297.
Sweet. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So the package actually includes Susan bringing you the knowledge of your unique you that you need in order to break through, to be and stand in the power that you were blessed to live this lifetime with. And it's the personal human design reading, a 60 to 90-minute call where she's actually going to give you the reading. You get one call after that and your human design report. You get the recording of your session, and you'll be able to communicate with her via email.
Mhm.
And Susan, I just want to say thank you so much for bringing you and the experience of you to our audience today. The links are kind of long, so I'm going to do redirect links. So you'll be able to get to Susan's information by going to skyhawkenterprises.biz/embodying. No, what is it? No, it's going to be embodying you. Okay?
Is that all?
skyhawkenterprises.biz embodying you. And the page with the 50 relationship tips
Mhm.
is going to be skyhawkenterprises.biz/50 R tips. R tips.
Mhm.
Okay, and both of those links will be live in the next 5 or 10 minutes, and you'll be able to get to Susan's info. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. You know, one of the things that we often find ourselves in the space of is questioning how well we're living life. And if we're not questioning it for ourselves, we're questioning it for others. And the thing that really helps to keep us centered is the guided knowledge that the who that you are today is you in the present, and you are a present to the world. Keep growing, keep embracing what is in front of you, and open your heart. Because as we talk about relationships, quality relationships involve heart connections. And I was on a show earlier today, and one of the things that I was able to actually really dive into was the new concept that I'm developing of open hearts, open hearts. So be the best you. Have an open heart. Be the open heart so that you can open other hearts. Now, Susan, before we leave, is there anything that you want to leave with our audience, that pearl of wisdom, that key that unlocks the biggest door to the biggest prize right now?
Well, gosh, um, there's a Confucius um, quote, and uh, and I have it on the back of my card. I can get it if you want. Um,
While Susan is getting us this parting quote, I want to make sure that our audience, living life is only one of the pieces of magic that we can experience in this lifetime.
so,
It gets enhanced when we have that magic in relationships with others, in quality relationships with others. So, Susan, looks like you're back with your quote.
yes, wherever you go, go with all your heart. Confucius.
Beautiful. I love that. That ties in so well. And for our audience today, thank you for joining us. My name is Lynn Hawkins. I am the host of the Biz Info Zone show, and you've been in the zone with my guest and me, Susan Boone. Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to more of us women entrepreneurs knowing that we live in the space of being well-loved women and on the journey to help other women understand how to be well-loved women. Thank you, and
Oh,
thank
thank
you,
you so much.
everyone.
I have so enjoyed this. This has been a pleasure for me.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed hosting you. So if you want to just hang tight, I'm going to say goodbye to our audience, and we'll see you next week when our guest is Dr. Monica Ogando, and we're going to be talking about story leverage. How does your story play into you being a well-loved woman? Let's see you next week. And again, my name is Lynn Hawkins. My heart to yours. Open hearts, open hearts. Thank you for bringing us your open heart today. Bye for now.